You know, I never thought my life would turn out this way. Sometimes it feels like it happened to someone else, like it's someone else's story. But unfortunately, it's all true. I met Olya when I was 22. We were studying at the same university, though in different departments. She was studying journalism, and I was an engineering student. We met at a party. She immediately caught my attention with her lightness and infectious laughter. Olya was one of those people who always seemed to be the center of attention, but not intentionally. It seemed like she simply enjoyed life and knew how to live it. I was a reserved guy back then, not the type to easily approach strangers. But that night, something gave me the courage. I walked up to her, we started talking, and everything just clicked. It was love at first sight, at least, that's what I thought at the time. A few months into our relationship, I introduced her to my parents. My mom loved her right away and said that Olya was like a ray of sunshine. My dad was more reserved, but I could see he was pleased. Olya had a way of charming people. She was incredibly likable. We got married 2 years later. It was a modest but beautiful wedding. Our friends said we were the perfect couple. I was proud of her and of myself for finding such a woman. At that time, I believed we had a long and happy life ahead of us. The first 2 years of marriage were genuinely good. We rented an apartment. I worked as an engineer, and she got a job at a small editorial office. Olya was passionate about her work, full of plans, and often talked about how she wanted to publish her own book one day. I supported her in everything, but over time, I started noticing changes. She began staying late at work more often and grew distant. Her phone was always with her, and I never saw it lying face up. When I asked if something was wrong, she brushed me off. "You're just overthinking." I believed her because I didn't want to even consider that something might be wrong between us. But then one day, everything changed. That day, I decided to surprise her. I bought her favorite flowers and went to her office. I wanted to meet her after work, like we used to do in the early months of our marriage. But she wasn't there. Her colleague said she had left hours ago. I went home and waited. Olya came home close to midnight, looking tired and nervous. When I asked where she had been, she shrugged it off. "I was with the girls. Can't I have some time with my friends?" At that moment, I didn't know this was the first sign of my life beginning to fall apart. A few days later, she forgot her phone at home. That was the only time I allowed myself to invade her privacy. And there it was, her messages with a colleague, plans for meetings, phrases that cut me to the core. I didn't confront her immediately. I wanted to be sure. The next day, I hired a private investigator. It was humiliating to have to spy on my own wife, but I didn't see another way. A week later, I had the evidence, photos, messages, everything I didn't want to know but had to. I waited for her at home. When she came in, I laid everything in front of her. She tried to deny it at first, but then she started crying. She said I had been too cold, too busy, that she had felt lonely. "You made me do this," she said. We divorced a month later. She packed her things and left. I even let her take some of the money, though it was painful. I just wanted her gone from my life. But the story didn't end there. Olya didn't last with that man. He left her after a couple of months. She lost her job and started drinking. I heard from friends that she fell in with some questionable people. Then one day, I got a call from the hospital. She was dead. An overdose. Pills, alcohol, emptiness. I went to identify her body. As I looked at her, I felt no anger, no pity, just emptiness. Next to her was a note, "Forgive me." Did I forgive her? I don't know. Sometimes I think we could have fixed things if she had just been honest with me. But now it's too late. Love. Yes, there was love. But love is also responsibility. Olya couldn't bear it. And me? I'm still here, living with this story that will stay with me forever.